Up YouTube boxing community. It's the Boxing J right here with a quick video on the post fight of Canelo versus Trout. First of all, I wanted to say the stadium was electric. There was a lot of energy. Any punches that Canelo threw, there was a rout of cheering for Canelo. I'm impressed as well. There were a couple of Trout fans. I'm impressed by the number of fans that went out there. I was expecting a lot less. There was a lot of people with Trout shirts, with Trout flags. The flag saying Trout Nation. I was even surprised I even saw a gay flag, man. I don't even know. I saw it across from where I was sitting on the completely other side of the fan. I thought that was kind of weird. I don't know why would they take a gay flag to a boxing fight next to their Mexican flag. But that's them. The fight was pretty good. I kind of wanted it to be a little bit. It was very competitive, but what I wanted, or what I was expecting, was a little bit of more action. But in the end, both of these fighters showed a lot of composure. Even with the amount of fans that were out there, the amount of cheering as well, Canelo, he showed a lot of composure. They didn't jump into a punch where they could possibly get knocked out and get the fight stopped. I haven't watched the fight on television. I think I could get the scoring better if I were to do that, but based off the eye test, I wasn't sitting too far from the ring. I think that the judges gave Canelo way too much on the edge on the fight. I think it was a much more competitive fight. I still believe Canelo did win, but it wasn't as a wide margin as it showed in the judges. I did agree with one of the judges who I believe they had a 115, 113. That's actually my rough score that I would give. But all the other judges gave it wider, way wider, especially the third judge. I think the third judge didn't even give Trout a round. I think maybe they gave him one round. That was it. But assessing the fight, Trout, I don't think he did enough to circle Canelo to his right, or to Canelo's left, to Trout's right, and throwing the straight left. That was a key to the fight because Trout has a pretty sharp left. He did throw a couple of lefts, but they didn't do too much to Canelo. He wasn't circling him. He was a lot busier, throwing a lot of jabs, trying to set up. But the thing was, he was trying to set up. He wasn't actually landing effective combinations. He was just jabbing, circling. He was circling him, but I wanted him to circle him a little bit more. But it was a pretty good effort. I would like to see a rematch. I think Trout deserves the rematch. He's a very generous man. I know a couple of people were saying that even he admitted that he lost. What I was saying is it wasn't that close, but in my opinion, he admitted that he lost. He didn't want to disagree with the judges. He didn't say anything about the judges, even when asked. And I've watched numerous interviews, post-fight interviews, and he hasn't said anything negative about the judges. He's just going along with the flow, respecting the judges' decisions, and accepting the loss, which he lost on paper. But I think that deep down inside of him, he knows it was a pretty close fight, and he wanted that victory. And I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch if Canelo. I think Canelo's a little. He needs a couple of more fights. He needs 2 more fights before he goes to Mayweather, because Mayweather's a whole nother beast. And aside from that, I think that that fight probably won't happen. Canelo's fight night weight was at 171 or 172, if I'm not mistaken. Both of these guys were right on the same weight. Somebody was on top in 1 pound. I'm not sure who it was. Maybe it was Canelo, since he's a little bit bulkier. But that's on the Trout. My assessment. On Canelo, he did a pretty good job. In the beginning, I saw he was just throwing hooks, just trying to land. He was just throwing strong punches. He wasn't setting up. In his post-fight interview, he was saying that the jab was key to the victory, but I honestly didn't see enough jabs. I wanted to see more jabs from him to seal that he really won the fight. If he threw more jabs, if he set it up a little bit more, I could go with the scorecards on the other judges. But I can't go for any more than the 115, 113. What I was really impressed with is, which everybody's impressed, is his defense, being able to slip punches, get punches away. He was able to, he was even using the shoulder roll at times to get punches out of the way. You know, Trout would throw a combination of 5 punches, maybe one would hit cleanly. You know, there would be one that would tap him, something like that, but a clean hit was only about 1. But other than that, Canelo, he did a pretty good job. The only thing was the jab. I wanted to see more jabs, and I think he's a pretty decent counter puncher. And like I said, decent. To be the full boxer, the only thing he's missing, honestly, is just the jab and more counter punching. He counter punched it really well, but I want to see a little bit more of counter punching. He waits. I think he waits too long to counter punch, but when he counter punches, he lands. But those are my thoughts on the fight. Tell me what y'all think. What y'all think about the scoring? I honestly think it can't be more than a wider margin of the 115, 113 that the first judge had it. Hopefully, I'd like to see Canelo with a rematch, or he could fight Lara. Lara's a tough fighter. Or maybe Martinez. He can fight Sergio Martinez, and then he can fight Mayweather. I mean, Mayweather isn't going anywhere. He has a contract with Showtime for 6 fights. So there's more. Life is longer than time, so he doesn't have to worry about getting into a fight that quick. But those are my thoughts. Hit me up. Boxing J. Peace.